to Align and Elevate. Love who you are. A show where I can be me and you can be you. Let's get started. And hello, welcome to this episode of Align and Elevate. And today we are going to be talking with Jennie Hayes, and she's going to explain who she is and what she does. So take it away, Jennie.
Melanie, thank you so much. I appreciate you and all your listeners. As you said, I'm Jennie Hayes. I am a brain spotting practitioner, and we'll dive into what exactly that means. But in real life, what I am is the wife to a man that I absolutely adore, my soulmate, stepmom to three kids with five grandkids, two of them still in the oven, and loving a house full of animals. We've got four dogs, I know, which puts me on the edge of weird, but there's a reason. And then two cats and three chickens. And so I have a very full life and I'm a very blessed life. So that's a little bit about who I am.
You're a fellow country girl.
I am, even though I'm living in the city, sort of.
But
Sort of.
yeah, but
If you call Moulton a city.
I was gonna say small town girl maybe is what we would call it.
Yeah.
So I love it because I'm also an animal lover and all of those things that I've got going on. I haven't flipped the switch on the chicken thing yet.
Oh, you need to. Oh my goodness. If you are ever having a bad day and need to feel appreciated, chickens will do it.
Oh, that's
Because no
interesting.
matter what you take to them, if you take them their food or their water, or maybe you're taking them a treat, you are just the best thing in the world. They're just so happy to see you.
Uh-huh.
I have one that when I walk out there, she just kind of puts her little wings out and sits down like, okay, mom, pick me up, pick me up.
So cute. So you get eggs and everything too?
hmm
Nice.
Yep, I actually have more eggs than I can deal
With
with just three
with
chickens.
three chickens. Wow.
Yeah, because there's only two of us in the house. So, and
Yeah.
all the rest of the family is a good ways away. The closest ones are in Temple. So,
hmm Wow,
yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, my son has chickens, so I kind of cheat and just use his.
Oh, well, yeah.
He's got about 20 of them, I think, and
And he's got plenty. He's got plenty to share.
I let him do the work. It's not bad or what. Nope, I love it. Okay, so how did you get into the work you're doing?
Very long story, so I'll try to make it short and sweet.
Okay.
Basically, I was working for somebody else because I had been trying to run my business for about 5 years. I was actually initially went into entrepreneurship thinking that I was going to be an insulin resistance coach. That was what I was going to do. I spent 5 years paying for all the coaches, all of the classes, doing all the learning, not marketing, and I wondered why nobody ever came because I kept thinking I was doing everything I needed to do. I hated social media. I didn't want to do the lists. I didn't want to, all those things they tell you have to do.
Right.
So about 3 years into it, my husband comes to me and he says, "You've made $397 in 3 years. You're going to have to get a job. I need help."
hmm
So I cried and moaned and groaned and kicked and screamed, fell into work with a lovely company called Zennie. For any therapists that are listening, they help you start and scale your business, your private practice.
And it's called what?
And Zennie, Zynnyme. Yeah, I know it's a made up name.
Great.
Um, it's a crazy name, but really good people. And I started coaching with them, and they had a coach that joined the team that was Brainspotting certified. And they had noticed that just like me, a lot of people who start their own business were stuck. In fact, a lot of people are stuck in life, period. They have goals and they're like, I'm doing all the things, or I don't even know where to begin.
Right.
And coaching can only get you so far. Brain spotting was taking these people and moving them past that barrier super fast.
That is so
And
cool.
so they brought us in, trained all of us on it. And I've spent the last 2.5 years watching people just accelerate like crazy after, sometimes just one session of brain spotting. And
That's
that's what
really
I did. I
cool.
did a session of brain spotting and I was like, I felt like I was broken. I was like, there's something wrong with me. I want to do this so badly. Maybe I'm just not cut out for it.
Mhm.
And so I did a session of brain spotting, and it was like, oh, no, I just need to build my business around who I am instead of trying to be what everybody else wants me to be.
I love that. I was going to say, when you first were saying how much you struggled with the insulin resistance thing, immediately I was like, well, it's just not your sole purpose. That's just
Yeah.
not what you were designed to do. You were designed to do this because I can see how talking about it lights you up, like
Oh,
it
yeah.
excites you and you feel good. And that's what I want people to understand is finding that within you is
Yeah.
important. Um,
And and it's made life so much easier because I did the brain spotting session, realized that, and it was like, well, what am I passionate about? What am I really motivated by? And like you said, it's the brain spotting. I love watching people shine.
yeah.
And this gives them, it's like the whole polish kit in one fell swoop instead of having to do it long term. We're not making a diamond over, hundreds and millions of years. We're making a diamond in a press.
Right.
And it's beautiful and it sparkles. And I love it.
So explain a little bit about what that is, because then I have other questions I want to ask later, but
Good.
I don't want to jump the gun. So tell me a little bit about what it is.
So, brain spotting is what we call a somatic technique, meaning mind body. Um, it is based off of EMDR, which is eye movement rapid desensitization, and it's not the official name. I always get the official name wrong. But basically, what EMDR does is it heals trauma by helping to connect both sides of the brain, which for some reason, they don't really know why, but it allows us to take those traumatic memories that are stuck and move them into long-term storage where they just don't cause emotional issues.
Hmm, okay.
Well, the gentleman that discovered brain spotting was doing sessions of this EMDR with an ice skater, and she had this one jump that she just could not land. And
Hmm,
it was a simple jump
right.
for her, not me.
Yeah.
And they had been working together for a couple of years. And while she'd made improvements in a lot of things, she still couldn't land this jump. And so he was doing the motions, which for those of you listening audibly, basically they move their hand back and forth and your eyes follow it. And it's quite rapid.
Mhm.
And he got to a certain point and he noticed that her eyes were doing this. They were actually, moving really rapidly. And so he continued with the eye movements, the regular ones. And when he got back to that spot, he saw it again. And he thought, let's hang out here for a moment. And so he hung out there, and she uncovered another memory that they had not found.
Mm.
And it turns out when she was learning that jump, her mother had walked into the skating rink, the practice rink, and told her and her dad that she was leaving them, that she couldn't do the ice skating mom life.
Oh
She
my
was done.
Oh, wow. I just got chills when
So,
you said that.
yeah,
I
so
was
she
like,
cried,
so
which
she
makes
stored
sense.
that
She
in that
stored that.
jump. Oh my
Yeah.
God. And see,
And once she released it, she was able to do the jump.
that's the other part that I think the general, I mean, I could be wrong about this completely, but I feel like
Mhm.
the general public doesn't understand. It's sometimes the smallest little things in life that can totally derail us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a protective mechanism.
Yeah.
Her brain said, oh my gosh, that hurt so bad. I never want to experience it again. But her brain, we think of our brains as being logical, but they're really not.
Mm.
And so her brain thought, well, if I do that jump again, I'm going to get hurt like that.
Oh.
When the reality wasn't that at all.
So how did they clear that then?
Through the brain spotting session, well, it is using the eye location to access those memories and then feeling the emotions associated while you've got somebody with you to help externally regulate. Now, what does externally regulate mean, right? So, if you've ever seen a baby learning to walk,
Mm-hmm.
when they're toddling along and they fall down on their butt, what do? who's looking, and what are they thinking? Are they upset? I need to scream and cry. Are they laughing? Okay, this is fun. I can get up and do it again. That is external regulation. As we grow, we start to provide our own regulation.
Mhm.
But if our brain thinks something's not safe, we need somebody else to come in and be that external regulation. Say, you know what? We can look at this right now. It's okay. This is a safe environment. We can open it up and dig it out. So when we experience things in life,
Mhm.
they don't come in as a thought. They come in as things that we touch and we feel and we smell and we taste. They're experienced by the whole body.
Right.
Then they come up into our brain and our limbic system, that part of our brain that's the fight, flight, fawn part, has to evaluate that new sensation.
Right.
And it decides, is this something that is dangerous or is going to hurt me or kill me if I forget it? Or is this just way too much to process right now and I need to hold on to it for later? As long as the answer is no to both of those, it does go into long-term storage. And it's as important as what color shirt you wore last week.
Hmm.
Nobody cares, right?
Right.
There's no really emotion tied to it. You
Right.
might think of it and go, oh, I really like that shirt. It does make me smile, but you're not like bouncing off the walls or crying. When it gets stuck in the limbic system, it creates this little time capsule for it. And the problem with the time capsule is that it leaks. And so, like with that ice skater, it leaked every time she tried to do that jump.
Okay.
Okay. With some of us, it's, for me, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a singer. And I was in the car with my dad, and he said, we don't need a concert right now. For him, he just didn't want the volume and the noise. For
Right.
me, I was crushed. It was like, oh my gosh, this is over. I shouldn't be singing in front of anybody. And so it leaked when I needed to be seen.
Mm.
And so when we go into brain spotting and you have that access, first of all, to it,
Yeah.
okay, um, then we are able to let you process that emotion and feeling in a safe environment. And there's nothing to leak anymore because it goes into that long-term storage.
I love that.
Yeah. And something really cool is that, maybe this happened when you were 2 or 3 and you don't have a clue what it was. It's okay. The body does.
So that's an interesting way you say that because I do not have a lot of childhood memories. My
Mhm.
sister can tell you everything down to the day that such and such happened where you're
Yeah.
apart. I'm like oblivious. I'm like, she's like, this happened when we were 4. And I'm like, are you sure? I have no idea. We were probably, really close then. And I'm like, if you say so, okay. I guess it happened. I don't know. It's like very. So, does that mean that I put everything in long term storage, or did something happen that would have like blocked all of it? Is that possible?
So there's a few different theories. Do you consider yourself to be neurodivergent? Maybe on the ADHD spectrum somewhere?
Hmm, I'm very multidimensional,
Okay.
so I
Because
probably would consider that the same.
Okay, so
I think
one of the
so.
theories is that people who identify as neurodivergent, their brain is moving so fast
Mhm.
that they don't really create the memory that we access.
Yep,
So everything's either going into time capsules or long-term storage.
gotcha.
And so, yeah, I don't have much of a memory of my childhood either. I have a handful of memories,
Right,
right? There's also trauma can cause that. That'll actually just block it because your brain's like not accessing any of it.
right.
And then there's people who just have lousy memories.
And that's one of my biggest out there thoughts, I guess, is do we even need a memory?
You don't need a memory because your body remembers.
Your
You don't
body.
have to access the memory. You don't have to tell me the memory, even if it's vivid.
Yep.
Um, it is, I- we can even do this with people who are blind or don't have their eyes, even though looking with your eyes is an integral part of it.
Hmm.
Because here's the thing. it really boils down to that connection between the brain and the body.
Hmm.
And so if you can't even see, it's okay because you can still move the muscles,
Yeah.
which still tells the brain, oh, this is the area we need to look at. So think about the last tiff that you had with your significant other. If you don't have a significant other, maybe a family member.
Hmm.
Okay. When that happened, what color shirt were you wearing? Do you remember? See how your eyes just went over to the side?
Yeah, I'm like,
You're
yeah, so
looking
I'm
for the
looking for the
memory.
file. I'm looking for the file over here.
Right. Yeah, you're looking for the file there, which means it's actually probably back in the back of the other side because our eyes are opposite sides of the
Right.
brain, right? And so that's what we're doing is we're looking and finding the file.
Okay, wait, you're saying when I looked off to the right, the file is actually on the left back.
Right, because it's
Very
like a
cool.
direct line.
And that's where the two sides talking to each other is so important. I call it coherent.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah. Like I said, they don't really know why it works. They just know that the EMDR, that is considered the gold standard for PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. But I consider brain spotting the platinum
Well,
because it takes about half as long.
I kind of did an EMDR.
Mhm.
God, this would have been 2008 or 9. I did that with somebody, and I didn't feel like it did anything for me.
So one of the big differences between EMDR and brain spotting, other than the hand motion part versus the static, is that EMDR is more about let's just see what bubbles up.
Okay.
Okay. If you have emotions, let's see what happens.
Right.
Whereas brain spotting, you come to me with an emotion, with a stuckness, with an overwhelm, with a procrastination, with confusion. There's an issue already.
Okay.
So you come to me and say, I've got this going on, for me, I I feel like I'm a failure in my business. Okay. Where do you feel that in your body?
Right.
We find it in the body, and then we find where your eyes look that make it worse. And that tells me that's where it's leaking from. And then we explore the feeling and let the body communicate with us.
That's
And it's yeah, and it's I love it because what starts out usually in the beginning because we're trying to aggravate it, well,
hmm
it'll feel to some people like all I'm doing is complaining. It's like it's okay. We need to get that feeling going. And then as they're going through the session, about half to three quarters of the way through, I'd say about 75% of them, there's this like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. Or, gee, I didn't realize that was associated with that. And then it's just a lightness afterwards.
So it's really more just the awareness of something that
It's
creates the shift, right? A
it's
lot of
the aha, it's the click, it's the thing that you probably already knew, but never really integrated. So like my revelation, I mean, I've been coaching business owners forever and telling them you need to run your business in a way that aligns with who you are.
it.
But there was something powerful about it coming from my body and my brain. Some of the other breakthroughs that I've had that I thought were just, they were kind of funny. One guy, he's like, my big breakthrough was that if I fall down, I can get back up because I've got kids. Do you know how many times I've said that? He says, but it just makes sense now. It just resonates.
Yeah.
And sometimes people will even miss that it was the brain spotting that did it. I have a friend who is a coach and an author, well, an author now. But while we were doing her brain spotting, her answer was the answer's in my book. She was struggling with trying to figure out how she needed to market. She was overwhelmed with all the options.
Right.
And she comes back 2 weeks later for her follow-up, and we're talking, and she goes, before we say anything about brain spotting, she goes, here, I've got to tell you, I'm on chapter 7 of my book, and I'm doing this on Pinterest and this on LinkedIn, and I've got all this lined up, and everything's making sense, and it's going great. I don't know if the brain spotting did anything. I was like, hold on,
Yeah.
let's go back and read your transcript.
So when I
Really?
When I do MFR, I call it MFR, but it's not truly just MFR, which is myofascial release.
Hmm.
I combine it with energy healing and a whole bunch of other things. But it's hilarious to me. People don't real. It's so subtle. It's
Hmm.
very subtle. It's not a aha usually, but if they continue with it over time, I see the changes. People stand up a little taller, they're a little straighter. Life is flowing a little easier. They can move easier in their body, which
Hmm.
is huge. People don't
Yeah.
understand flexibility.
Oh, yeah.
Flexibility is everything. If you can't put your arm up easily and hold it here for 3 minutes, something's wrong. This is not working. So I hear you. I mean, people need to be hit over the head with a 2x4
Sometimes. Yep.
sometimes to make them realize this is what's working. Or maybe it's the combination. Maybe she decided to go for a walk in nature and did the brain spotting, and took the time to sit down. It's the
Well,
brain
it's always
spotting
a
was
journey.
well, and the brain spotting was the catalyst
Hmm.
that opened the door to do all the other things that fell into place. So
Yeah.
I think that is so true.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always a journey. It's the brain spotting is always a part of the journey, but I love how instantaneous it feels. It feels like, night and day, but there is always some work that's done beforehand. Like she knew she wanted to write a book.
Right.
She knew she was a coach. She knew she wanted to do this work. She just was stuck.
Yeah.
And of course, this works with things other than just entrepreneurship. If you have a dream, if you have a plan, if you have a desire, and you're like, I know I want to, I have all of the skills, and I can't figure out why I can't do it.
So, have you ever worked with somebody with fertility?
I have not worked with anybody with fertility. I am getting ready to do a pain spotting on Monday. So, for chronic pain, especially pain that can't be identified as to where the pain's coming from,
Hmm.
the person that's been to every doctor and they just are like, we don't know what to do. You can do pain spotting and it's supposed to wipe it out. Just,
Well, yeah, because the missing link, I think, is it's in the energetic body or
it's
the
in the
emotional
trauma.
body.
Yeah.
And that's what doctors don't see.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
so this is part of my mission now is to come out of the closet and really shout from the mountaintops. We have not been using the whole picture with our
It's
health.
true.
We've only been using the physical picture.
Hmm.
What about all the other parts of it? And yes, we've always had psychology, but I feel like psychology from the past, Freud's time or whoever, was very narrow.
Hmm.
I feel like what you're doing, I feel like you're bringing in a whole different element with it. It's not
Yeah.
truly just psychology, it's also bringing in a more spiritual aspect of it. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And I've actually had people, so like you, I use brain spotting as my basis, like you use myofascial release.
right.
But I do bring in other techniques. And so one of the things I will do sometimes is if they're stuck and
Mhm.
they just can't clear the emotion, we'll pull somebody in. And speaking of bringing in your faith or bringing in the spirit, I've had people bring in, like, okay, I want to bring in Jesus.
Yep.
Great.
Hmm.
Let's bring him in. What does he have to say? Can he talk to this spot and get you answers? And it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I think psychology we made the mistake early in the Industrial Revolution where we separated the mind from the body. We
Yes.
decided that the mind was a completely different thing. And in all reality, it is, I mean, the reason there's a mind-body connection is that the mind is part of the body, and
Mhm.
we need to treat it as such. And I spent, you know, 15 years in medicine and allopathic medicine as a paramedic working in doctor's offices, actually 20 years if you count the hospital.
Yeah.
And that was all laughed at. And if you told me at that point that I'd be doing this, I would have told you you were friggin' nuts. That people who are stuck just need to push through it, do what they need to do. They're fine. They're just not made for things if they're not, if they're not making it happen.
We've tried that push through thing, and
Hmm.
it doesn't work. It really
No. I will say it doesn't work as well for women. There are some men
Hmm.
that really do push through just fine. And there are some really high achieving A-type women that resonates with them. They're like, okay, don't like it, gonna do it anyway, and they push through it. But most women are emotionally based.
Yeah.
We follow our gut. And if our gut is screaming saying don't do this, we're like, "Ooh, but I really want to. Why is this? What's the disconnect here? Am I just not able to do it? Can I not just push through it?"
Right.
And the answer is no, you can't. And that's okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. You just need
Knowing
something
when to
different.
knowing when to just step back and instead of the pushing, because life is supposed to flow.
Yeah.
And I finally, I mean, I'm 56 now, and it took me probably 52 of those years to figure out that if I am trying to purchase something online and it just won't go through, that's my
Don't get
sign.
it.
You don't need it. Don't do it.
Mhm.
If you're trying to plan a trip and it just seems really sticky and the plane doesn't work out in the hotel or whatever, blah blah blah, you're not supposed to go. Or you're
Mhm.
not supposed to go now. Or yeah, I'm very much more aware of when things are not going the way they're supposed to go. Step back. Okay, wait, maybe that's not for me right now.
Right. You're following your intuition.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're much more intuitive. And we should be because that's where we started. That's been our job for so many years until recently, is to be the intuitive side of the equation. You need the logical side and you need the intuitive side. Not that women aren't logical, don't even go down that road, but I do believe that we complement the masculine and feminine complement each other.
And I think that is where, and here I'm going to get on my soapbox for half a second.
Okay.
Education does us wrong
Yes.
because we put too much focus on the logical side and we don't use the intuitive side enough.
Right.
I do feel like in the future, next 10 to 20 years, that is going to be shifting in our education system.
Yeah.
See that in some of the newer schools that are coming out, the more experiential schools. I heard about a school that does projects, which is really cool. They take 6 weeks and put a group together and they have a project. And each person learns their zone of genius to make the project happen. So they're really using their thinking skills and their intuition and what comes
Yeah.
natural to them. And I'm like, that is a really cool idea.
Imagine teaching kids to think instead of teaching them to the test.
Right. It's amazing what that
Oh
would
my
do.
goodness.
They should hire us to be on the
Yeah.
Education Board of
There
Texas,
you
right?
No, I don't do anything with politics anymore. I
Me either.
led worship at my church for 5 years, and I decided at that point, it's like, I'm done with politics. I know church is not supposed to be politics, but it is.
It is.
I am done with politics.
No, I
So,
agree with you 100%. This realm that we're in is way more fun.
yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I absolutely just love it. Um, yeah, it's made such a difference, and the range of people that can benefit from brain spotting is so wide. I have barely in the, 2.5 years that I've been doing it, barely even scratched the surface between the self-esteem and the imposter syndrome and the, overwhelm. I'm actually working with a couple of young ladies right now on sexual abuse from when they were kids
Mm,
and how it has trickled into their lives now,
that's
and watching them so quickly go from, just where I was as a kid, where, getting in bad relationship after bad relationship and bad decision, to yesterday, I've been working with this young lady for about 6 weeks.
mm,
Um, she was like, I don't deserve that. And I can make that decision and it's okay.
yeah, that's amazing.
And that's huge for
I
her.
really feel like the youth of today needs this kind of stuff
Hmm.
more and more. And,
Yeah.
and I want to say to anybody that's listening that is maybe less than 30, don't wait. Don't
No. Don't
Don't
wait till you're 50
I
like we
have,
did to,
yeah, I
to
mean, I
have the
have
revelation.
50 and 60-year-olds that have been just kind of suffering through life. It's like, don't do that.
Hmm.
If you're having trouble, fix it now. Like, explore whatever helps you.
Yeah,
Yeah, don't sit on it. Don't stay in a stagnant relationship if that's not working for you, whatever it is.
yeah. And don't be afraid to ask for help
Mm,
doing it. If you're afraid to leave the relationship, don't leave the relationship, ask for help. Figure out whether or not you need to leave the relationship with help.
yeah,
You know, I should have left my first relationship before it started,
me too.
but it wasn't until I saw it that I was able to. And if I had been able to ask for help instead of busy defending myself all the time, that should be a red flag. If you are spending your life defending your choices, you need to revisit your choices.
That is a great little snippet to remember for sure.
Yeah. My dad said when I was too embarrassed to tell them that I was going to marry my ex-husband, that should have been a sign to me that what the decision I was making was wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You can't, if you can't open up about your decision, is basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's something,
There's something there.
yeah.
Yeah. Don't wait for it to work out.
So here's a quick question.
Yes.
Can you do brain spotting in a group session?
I have actually just started doing that.
Cool.
So if you go to my website and so just jenniehayes.com/events, you will see my next few brain spotting sessions. Um, the next one, well, I don't know when this will be released, but if it's not too soon, or if it is too soon, it'll be March 4th. So it'll be the first and third Tuesday
Hmm.
of every month.
Okay.
I did one last week and it was wonderful. Almost everybody got some relief, some insight. It is not quite as powerful as doing it one-on-one, but if you can get some forward motion for free,
And I'm a
do it.
big believer. I've done lots of healing circles or just things in the collective that I've done over
Mhm.
time. If you listen long enough to something, you're like, well, that kind of resonates with me, and that kind of resonates with me, and yeah, that kind of feels true. And so you actually gain some stuff from other people's things because we are all one when it
Side coaching.
comes to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
the brain spotting, the group session is a little bit different because I'm not doing a whole lot of talking during it. I kind of tell you what to do and then make sure that you have the space and time to do it. Um, so come experience it. Come
I
check
am.
it out.
I've got an event going on actually on the 4th also, but um, I might check out that next one.
So y'all go to her event on the 4th, but on the first and third Tuesday
Yeah.
at 4 o'clock Central.
Yeah.
Come check one of them out. And like I
Yeah,
said, it's
that
free.
sounds
It is limited. I'm gonna let 10 people in the room, and at 10 people I have to close the room because if I get too many, I can't serve everybody. Also, I will close the room at 5 minutes after because people coming in late disturb the whole process. It's not
yeah,
something you can come in and just kind of listen to what everybody's doing and
no, I
observe. You
agree
need to
with
come in
that.
and play. If you're gonna be there, come in ready to play.
Right. No, that's perfect. I think that's great actually. So you said
Yeah.
it's first and third. I'm gonna write
First
that
and
down.
third Tuesdays, and it's at 4 o'clock Central, so 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. We won't leave Mountain Time out, 3 o'clock Mountain Time. Uh,
I'm time challenged.
I have been working with people all across the United States for long enough now that I still pull my fingers out sometimes because they show you a real quick, easy trick. Pacific, Mountain, Central, Eastern.
Right.
And so when I'm confused, it's like, okay, well, if it's 10 a.m. Pacific, it's 10, 11, 12, 1. Okay, it's 1 o'clock Eastern. So,
Now, if I can figure out the Eastern, I go, okay, we're 1 hour ahead of that, and that means it's like the middle of the morning for Pacific
yeah.
time. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I'm not sure I don't really don't understand why we need all that.
And then you throw the Arizona into the mix, and it's like, yeah, I'm not even going to try and keep track of y'all. Just y'all have to know. Because, they don't do
They
daylight
don't do
saving.
daylight savings time, and then when you go to Europe too, I've worked with people over in the European area, and it's like their daylight savings time is not the same as ours, and so then it's all a whole separate confusion, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh dear Lord.
Same with Australia. Yeah, I've
Yeah, I
worked with
worked
real
with a
estate in
guy in
Australia.
Australia, and it's like, you
It
tell
was
me what time to
interesting.
be there, and I'll be there, and I do. Thank God we have time converter. That helps a lot.
Yeah, well, Calendly, it automatically doing that is so helpful. It makes such
Ooh,
a
that's
difference.
cool. I wonder if Google does it too.
Yeah. So yeah, you can get a free Calendly account, and
Yeah, I wonder if we.
so even for like networking or just meeting up with people online, do a free one event type deal, and
Yeah,
when they schedule it, automatically converts for you. You don't have to think about it,
pretty sweet.
which I like.
That's the beauty of technology
Yeah.
that we
I spend
do.
so much time thinking I like when things are easy and I don't have to. So
Great.
yeah.
Well, what else do we need to know about brain spotting? Is there anything else, or what else you do that's, well, first of all, I guess tell people that you do mostly all virtual sessions, correct?
Oh, yeah, 100% virtual. I've actually never brain spotted in person. Everything has always been online. We can do it from anywhere in the world.
Nice.
The only equipment that you need is the computer that you're looking into, and a private room somewhere where you have privacy so that you can process. Um, if you want to amp things up, we also use, I'm going to say it wrong, binaural
Beats.
beats
Yep.
music,
Mhm.
which actually mimics the EMDR because it stimulates one side of the brain and the other. So it's like we're using EMDR plus brain spotting when we do that. So anybody who is dealing with a serious trauma, serious like phobias, um, anxieties that keep you from doing the thing,
Right.
um, we would use that for sure. And if you want to use it for the others, you can.
No, that's good.
It just kind of turns the volume up on the brain spotting,
Hmm.
and that's all you need. And it takes 50 minutes for a session. Unless you're, again, we're looking at the serious traumas, and I like to do 90, but we would evaluate that. I do a free 30-minute call with everybody that wants to explore it, partially to make sure brain spotting is going to work, because there are some things brain spotting won't work for.
Interesting.
So brain spotting will not work if you don't want to do the thing, right?
I was going to say openness to
You have
something
to
new
be.
and being willing to open that door is
Right.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah. It also will not turn you from an introvert into an extrovert. If you have a dream of speaking on a TED stage and you have absolutely no desire to ever speak, and it's not going to change who you are internally. What it's going to do is remove the blocks to allow who you are
Uh-huh.
to blossom.
So not, you're kind of saying it won't change your personality?
It won't change your personality.
I got you.
It just gives you permission to actually live as your personality.
And I think that's where we're all headed, and I think is beautiful if you notice people who are doing their natural thing that comes natural to them. It's just so, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, there's a word I'm looking for that's just, you can just tell when people are in their authenticness
Yeah,
versus the facade they put on because they're
yeah,
doing something they're not really supposed to be doing. Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Or they're doing what they've been taught to do. So, like, I grew up military, and in the military, for those that don't know, if the kid gets in trouble, the person who's in the military can also get in trouble. So I had to present myself in a certain way at all times so that my dad didn't get in trouble.
Right.
And so I learned to wear masks. I had a personality for school, I had a personality for church, I had one for work, I had one for home, etc. And
That's exhausting.
it was, and I identified at 16 that there was a problem with this, that
Uh,
I didn't like wearing all the masks. But it really wasn't until, gosh, 7 or 8 months ago that it was like the masks are finally off.
mhm.
I don't have to be somebody else to please people. I'm who I am,
Yeah.
and you either like me or you don't. If you don't, that's okay, you
And
know?
that actually is one of it's so simple but hard
It is.
because we've been so programmed to think that you have to act a certain way and be a certain way and well society will not like that and this and that. All of it's hogwash.
It is.
If
Because,
we all stood in our power and stayed where we're supposed to be naturally, this would
mhm,
be a harmonious world.
yeah,
Don't you think?
yes. Well, and you can tell when someone has confidence as well as authenticity,
Mm-hmm.
and it draws people to you.
Magnetism,
Yeah.
law of magnetism.
I mean, I can't even walk in a store without people talking to me. And I know that for some people that would be a nightmare, but for who I am, it feels good. I like it when people just talk to me.
Because you're open and they see that. There's something about your aura within your whole being. My husband always would say, people talk to you about everything, their entire life story.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, I have a sticky on my forehead that says open.
Yeah. Unload here.
I have to admit that I do go to the grocery store and kind of go, okay, nobody sees me.
Yep.
I just need to get in and I need to get out.
I had such a laugh. My husband is as much shyer and a great guy, absolutely great guy, but somebody did that to him one day. And I should have rescued him sooner, but I was enjoying it so much.
That is funny. That is hilarious.
I could just see him kind of going, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Oh, really? Oh, yeah, okay, really? Hmm. I'm
Yes.
just like dying because he gives me such a hard time when people do that to me.
Right. No, I know.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
So, but as far as brain spotting, the things that you need to know about brain spotting is number one, it can't mess anything up. It can't make things worse. That's really important to know because we think about mental health and we think, oh my gosh, if this goes wrong, what's going to happen? Your brain and your body will be able to protect you, and it's a very mild yet very powerful technique.
Great.
Number two, you're not broken. You've
No.
got some time capsules leaking.
Mm.
And if you're ready to get rid of them and you're willing to play, this is a great way to do it because it's so friggin' fast. Most people do not need more than one session, at the most three. The only reason I've been working with these other young ladies for as long is because it's multiple trauma on top of multiple trauma.
Right.
But in just a few weeks, I mean, that would take them years in traditional talk therapy. Years.
That's just it. I know people that were in talk therapy for like 10, 15, 20 years, and I see them doing these other things in the last maybe 5 years. And
Yeah.
they have grown so much. And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that is amazing.
And there are other somatic techniques. So brain spotting is not the only somatic technique.
Mhm.
EMDR is a somatic technique, but there's also things like accelerated resolution therapy, which if you have a specific picture that pops in your mind every time you encounter a trigger, it actually goes in and helps you to change the picture. And it works. It's crazy. And then there's things like there's dance therapy and I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
just
Art
yoga
therapy.
therapy,
I love
art
art therapy.
therapy.
It's
Yeah,
amazing. I've done that and I had so much fun doing that.
yeah.
So here's a question that's going to jump out of the box.
Okay. I'm game.
Have you experienced some brain spotting things that are from previous incarnations, which are really simultaneous incarnations, but things that people may be bringing forward into this lifetime from possibly a previous one?
I have not. I
Interesting.
have not. I have found that now, of course, not everybody speaks the whole time and tells me what all's going on in their head.
Right.
I'd say about half of the time people talk the whole time. And then a quarter of the time they kind of just update me every once in a while. And then a quarter of the time they don't say a thing. We start, I check in on them a couple times and they're done and they tell me what happened.
Okay.
So there's no, I can't be 100%, but no, I've not encountered that. Um,
Because
but
I've had hypnosis sessions and we've
mhm,
done that where we've gone through. So here's a crazy example. So I had a pain in my side.
mhm,
We through hypnosis we realized that was from a future me, or really, again, there's no such thing as time. First of all, it was another version of me that was in
mhm.
a spaceship wreck. I know. Here we go. We're gonna go weird.
That's all right. We can go weird.
And a piece of metal lodged in my side. And so we basically dislodged that. And I can't tell you how this whole area just felt different after that.
Hmm.
I mean, it was crazy, but it worked. And who cared?
That's what it's
You know?
important about.
Yeah.
That's the most important piece is if it works,
Yeah.
do it. You know,
No matter
um,
how crazy it sounds.
no matter how crazy it sounds.
Yeah.
I'll often have people say, well, I can't feel anything in my body. How am I going to do this? And so we'll do a little bit of hypnosis, guided meditation to get them in their body.
Which is a big problem. A lot of people,
Right.
because we have created those time capsules, they don't really feel anymore. I find
Right. They numb down.
that is a very big part of the work that I do is I call it soul retrieval or just getting them to back into where they feel the subtleties of their body. I think are very important.
Yeah.
That's another big question mark that I have that I contemplate a lot is when people say they have high pain tolerance. I don't think that's a good thing. I
No,
think that
it's
means you're
not.
not in touch with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
You put a block there.
Yeah.
You have to have something, the 2x4 hit you before you realize what's going on.
Yeah. Yep, as someone with high pain tolerance and someone who can become very clinical. And so I've learned how to manipulate that numbness. But I found after a while that it would start creeping into other things. And so it was my husband who pointed out, he was like, sometimes it's like you're not even in the room. And so I had to start pushing back against that numbness. The bad part is now I see something and I actually get grossed out by things. It's like, this is so weird.
That is
It's
hilarious.
on an ambulance for almost 10 years.
Oh yeah, you should
And
be.
I'm watching something on TV that's grossing me out.
No, there's stuff that nope. I'm kind of like that. Like I'm good, but yeah, no, there's a few things that still gross me out. Yeah,
So,
very.
yeah.
All
So
right. Well,
to wrap it all up, you're not broken.
oh,
That's what it all boils down to. You're not broken.
yeah,
You know, if you're not doing the things, if you're not aligned, if you're not where you want to be, it's not because there's something wrong with you. It's because there's something holding you back
hmm,
that is trying to protect you, whether it be that future spaceship shard in your side
right,
or it's a trauma that you had that you may not even be aware of. Your body and your brain are just trying to keep you safe.
yeah,
And if we can go in and retrain it and say, hey, I know you love me. I know you're doing this for me, but let's look at the whole picture. This isn't protective anymore.
yeah.
Then we
That's
can fix
so.
it.
Yeah, that reptilian part of our brain that's all about the safety thing
Hmm.
is huge,
It
really
is.
huge. And overriding it takes a little work, and you have to want to. You
You
really
have to want to. But yeah, like I said, with brain spotting, we can do it in an hour. And it's crazy, but
So
it really can
I'm
be
gonna come
retrained.
bang on your door and do a brain
Yeah.
spotting in
Yeah, you're right
in
around the
person.
corner from me, so you can. But
in person just to see what you would do with that. That's
Yeah.
funny. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very
All
cool.
right.
All right. Well, very beautiful to talk to you. I am so excited about what you do. It sounds so interesting. I'm already thinking of all these people that I should send to you for stuff. Um, so me, myself included, I think it would be helpful for me in my next evolution that I'm working on. I'm really deep diving and shifting and all of that. So yeah,
We should always be doing that. We should
right.
always be growing.
I agree with that too, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you so much and love that we are so close in proximity. Most
Mm-hmm.
of the people I talk to are, on the other side of the country. And so knowing you're just right down the road,
Yeah,
it's really cool.
it is cool.
So,
Well, thank you so much. It's been so fun. So we will say goodbye to everyone now and hope you enjoyed. Real quick, tell everybody one more time how they can get in touch with you.
yeah. So my website is just Jennie, JennieHays.com. You can check out the free events there. There's a page labeled events. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook under Jennie's Health Solutions. You can just email me, Jennie@jenniehays.com too. I'm very open. I'm very laid back, and my entire goal is to make sure that your experience, your life is what's taken care of, that you shine, because that's where my life gains value.
That's awesome. I think that's beautiful. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and we will see everyone on the next episode. Here's a quick question for you. I'm gonna give you
Trying.
this is my last one. Something new I'm trying. What new passions or topics are you diving into these days? Is there anything new that you're curious about?
So actually, there is a next level of brain spotting that I'm getting into. There's 6 different techniques, and I want to expand my learning in that because while I feel very confident and I love what I'm doing, I love new toys.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I have more toys, we can play even more. Um, and then I'm always looking at something new. So I don't know what that is yet. I can't take some of these courses because as I'm surrounded by these therapists and learning all these, it's like you have to be a therapist to do that one. Like, well, crud. I'm really good. I don't need to be a therapist. Just let me.
Hey, there's my other soapbox is the whole diploma or certification. I'm ready
Mhm.
for that to go out the window. In my perfect world, there's no such thing. It is
Yeah,
just, true. If you're going to go have brain surgery, you need to have somebody who's good at brain surgery. But in a general sense, I feel like some of that needs to go out the door.
but wouldn't authentic testimonials be
Right.
more important anyway? Because having worked in the hospital, the top orthopedic surgeon
Yep.
had more infections and post-op issues
Yeah.
than any of the other surgeons that we had in there.
Yeah.
So testimonials, I think, would solve a huge piece of that problem. And therapists can't even do testimonials. They're not even allowed to post their testimonials.
Because of confidentiality.
Ethics, because of confidentiality, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I feel like
Because
and I personally look at reviews and
mhm,
testimonials when I look for anything. I'm
yeah,
working with 2 people right now, and not once did I ask for any kind of how are you certified to do that. It
right.
was more looking at who they are, how we interact with each other. Yeah, it was more about that than it was any kind of certification or what. I don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's more about whether we're aligned to work with each other and can we collaborate together and open doors for each other is
right.
more
And
important.
I think that's a big piece of working together or working with someone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really cool. All right, I love it. Again, we could talk forever. So
I know.
I'm finally gonna say
What
goodbye now.
what they don't know is that we talked for about 20 minutes before we even started recording.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes, yes. But that's what alignment looks like, people.
right.
All right. Thanks so much. Thanks for listening today to Align and Elevate. If I can help you in any way, look me up at melanieking.me or check me out on Facebook, Instagram. MK Healer is my handle. As always, I will be me, you be you, and love who you are.